Justice to me is most meaningful is when the people who can't afford it can come to court and have their grievance adjudicated. I mean, to me, that's the bottom line for me.
I think to be able to function properly as a lawyer in the present ecosystem that we have now, one has got to be savvy with computers. The old ways of doing things has got to be maybe erased from our memory, and so that there's space, for new skills to be learned and to be kept in our mind.
I think that law is becoming increasingly more technology-driven, which means that a lot of the smaller menial tasks, they can be automated.
Well, I don't think that Singapore will diminish in the next 50 years or nothing, because as far as my knowledge is concerned, there are countries in this world that are using artificial intelligence robot to dispose of cases. But we have this profession conservative in nature. They don't like to be taken over. So there's this force. To me, they will eventually evolve in a sense because the AI machine robot is so efficient you cannot ignore it.
It will mean that you need to find a place for yourself amidst all this automation and robots and machines. So it may mean really becoming your client's trusted advisor, like I said, and building relationships where in such that the client can't really replace you with a machine.
There are a number of developments that I'm very excited to see. For example, artificial intelligence, neurodiversity, and the way in which we harness neurotech and the law. But one of the most exciting developments that is underway is therapeutic justice. What is exciting is that you're looking at the entire spectrum of what takes place in the course of family justice matters, and that includes multidisciplinary skill sets, drawing from psychology, social sciences, and really being able to view this with a kind of breadth and depth and more collaborative as well as solutioning. But finally, it is about, in the final analysis, really all about the law as a therapeutic agent.
We have to show the world a new model for development, which is less exciting, it's less sexy, it's less, ha, I got you. And it's more about, let's have a chat. I want to understand why you feel that way. I want to acknowledge it and validate it. And then now I want to try and explain my position, and I hope we can come to a middle ground. Now Singapore has to be a role model for something else, for social cohesion, and yet for change and progress. Wow, that's really tough. But Singapore has done tough things before. I want us to aim to be a role model for progressive development without all the bad stuff. I know it's a big ask, but that's what I hope.
So I think as someone from a projects energy background and in my role as data center counsel, I am perhaps one of the persons that have been really affected by the whole COVID crisis to see how it has really accelerated the world's needs for greater capacity, greater latency, and also greater connectivity. And all of these needs, they will eventually translate into data center development because the data center is the hardware that supports all of these services. Data centers, as we all know, are energy-intensive creatures, and with growing concern and awareness on how our Earth will look like, not just in the next couple of years, but in the future, and what kind of future we want to leave for the next generation. I think we have to work relentlessly, basically, to resolve this issue so that we can harness technology to make data centers more efficient and minimize the impact on the environment.
So for like contract drafting, for instance, there's really like some kind of smart contracts where there are tools that can help you do things like check your definition. So that cuts down your amount of the more menial side of things. So it means that you spend more time on things like thinking about how the clauses should read, and basically the more important things.
I hope in my lifetime I'll see the courts in Malaysia, they have a kiosk there. Otherwise, when we talk about access justice, it's not access justice to people who can afford. Access justice for people who can't afford, right? And people who can't afford, mostly are people who get injured and all that, right? So they don't have money to go to a lawyer. But if you tell the whole world, you come to the court, you type in whatever, this is what you get, right? Then you make an informed decision. Justice to me most meaningful is when the people who can't afford it can come to court and have their grievance adjudicated. That's the bottom line for me.
We're living in a time of great change, not just legal change, geopolitical change, social change. I think our attitudes towards everything may become quite polarizing.
As lawyers, we do have to learn a lot more about people from other professions, and that gives the value add into our work. Because law doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? Law exists to, in a way, regulate society. And if we don't see and understand what is the practical outcome, then all we are talking about, in a way, is legal theory.
We have got to be more expectant, in the sense that there will always be technological advancement in the way how court proceedings will be conducted in the future, how research can be done, and how even components of a trial might even be conducted by way of technology. People are always comfortable when they are good at certain things. You are in the comfort zone, and when new things are being introduced, it is quite natural that one begins to feel that there's a challenge being mounted against him, consciously or otherwise. My 2 cents worth of advice would be, as I said, to embrace instead of to resist change in terms of technology. Regard new applications, new tools as your friend rather than as your enemy. Lawyers, we tend to be more on the conservative side, but we can't go against change. Change is the thing which is now the norm.